Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Avax. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure to do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now, jumping into the CoinMarketCap page, we're sitting at an $8.19 billion market cap. So this is a high cap altcoin, definitely. And if you're looking for a safer investment, then Avax should be one of the coins you should be looking at. Obviously a big layer 1, and this is one of the better layer 1s in terms of gaming, so they have a lot of great gaming protocols. Now let's jump into the weekly chart and let's see what's going on. I'm going to try to keep it very short and brief for you. So immediately you can spot this massive symmetrical triangle that we are in, and what has been happening is that we're just bouncing up and down, and we're very close to the apex now. So sooner or later, something's gotta give, and we're gonna either see a massive break to the upside here, and we're gonna be either retesting previous all-time high prices at $130 with this breakout, or potentially even going higher than that, or we're going to break down from this pattern and we're going to be, potentially even losing our bear market bottom from October 2023, and we're gonna roll into a deeper bear market. So that's another possibility that we have at our hand. So it all depends on the macro environment, what Bitcoin is going to be doing, what the economy in the United States is going to be looking like, what the Fed is going to be doing with interest rates, and how the tariffs are going to continue affecting the TradFi and the crypto markets, because all of these things play a vital role in the liquidity that is supposed to flow into these altcoins for us to have a massive altcoin season. So when there's fear and uncertainty in the markets, people will not be going for these risk on assets. They will be moving towards risk off assets. And some people already consider Bitcoin to be a risk off asset, but definitely things like Ethereum and all of the altcoins below are going to be sold off in these times of fear. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's zoom in on this chart here and let's take a look at this massive green block that we have. I set this up a long time ago between $21 and $16.80. As you can see, we had a lot of bounces back and forth, both as support and resistance throughout the past few years. So going back to 2022, this block held us as support back in June, and then once again in September, then we had a correction down, and then once again we came up, and now we were retesting this as resistance multiple times, and then once again we retested it as support over here briefly in November 2023, and then once again in September 2024, and right now in April 2025 we are back testing that same range, that green block, as support. So we're bouncing up and down here and there, but this would essentially be your extreme oversold. This would be your greed territory, right? So that red area that I just highlighted, all of that would be where you want to be greedy, where you want to be buying as many tokens as possible. You want to be filling up your bags. And then the area above us over here, this is where you technically should be taking profit. So this is one way to look at it. And if you're dollar cost averaging into Avax at this point, if we start breaking to the upside and you start getting past some of these EMAs, you could potentially be looking at some take profit points at the 0.618 here at $46 potentially, and you could also target the local tops, $54 to $60 roughly for Avax. That's if you're looking to take short to midterm profits. So this would actually be anywhere between 229% down to 137% of profit. Depends on where your targets are at. Now, if we focus on the EMAs here, so the yellow EMA as always is the 20 EMA, and the 55 EMA is the red line, and the purple line is the 200 EMA. So now we are below the 200 EMA, and the 55 and the 20 just created a bearish cross. So that is not a bullish signal, obviously. That's bearish when you have a cross like that. That is a confirmation of the downtrend, and we did have one happen back in 2022 in May, June. That was the confirmation of the bear market, but this was after a massive blow off top. Here, this was essentially, from what we're looking at, from my perspective, this was essentially a correction, mid-bull market correction. So I still think there is more fuel in the tank. Now, I don't know if Avax will be able to break past its all-time high prices, but at least retesting the current all-time high at $130 is definitely possible. So that would be around 640% to the upside. I think that's definitely doable. And as you can see, the volume indicator below here is showing us that we're not having as much volume right now as we did during November 2024. Obviously, that was when all the hype kicked in with the elections. If we switch over to the stochastic RSI and the relative strength index, you can see both indicators have reset quite significantly. The stochastic is already recovering from the oversold, and the last time we were down this low in the oversold was during this correction in 2024 from April up until July, August. So that was a great buying opportunity. If you were dollar cost averaging into Avax during summer and early September 2024, you could have had a nice run up here towards $55. So you could have made some profits. Not amazing profits, not as much as you could have made if you were buying here with our signals that we were giving you. This massive block, this support block between $10.85 to $8.76 is something that we've been targeting since 2021. And we retested it most recently in October 2023. So the important thing to outline here is the fact that we haven't lost the October-September 2023 low, and that is extremely important. So we are holding this low, that is a higher low at the moment. If we start losing the support of this massive triangle, then of course that's going to be a negative sign, and we might be looking at a retest of the October low at the very least, but that hasn't happened so far. So hopefully we won't get down to a situation like that. And then another indicator to look at is the MACD. So here the MACD is curling up to print a bullish cross, hopefully. And the MACD is a confirmation indicator, so you do not want to be using the MACD solely to confirm your trades. You want to be using the stochastic and the relative strength index. So if we do get a bullish cross on the MACD, what we want to see is we want to see some volume, okay? We want to see the 20 EMA on the weekly chart being broken, because we need to start breaking some major resistance levels in order for us to start reversing this whole trend. If we don't do that, then it's most likely a fake out, a fake breakout essentially. So we need a bullish cross on the MACD. The stochastic has to start going up, and once we get to the overbought, that's potentially when you're getting closer to the end of your short-term local move to the upside. Keep in mind the stochastic is a short-term indicator with the settings that we have here, and the relative strength index is more long-term. So the relative strength index has also seemingly bottomed. So we're going to be waiting for a recovery here, and of course we don't want to be losing the support of the triangle. So keep an eye on that 20 EMA on the weekly. That's going to be pretty important. Let's get rid of these EMAs and let's bring up the 10 EMA. So the 10 EMA here, the blue line, as you can see, we're back testing that as a resistance, and we want to flip that. We want to flip that to support, and we want to have a nice bullish cross there between the 20 and the 10 EMAs. And that will be at least a confirmation of a short-term move to the upside, potentially taking us to the top of this triangle, to this resistance area, closer to the golden ratio as well at $46.47. So that's a potential scenario you have if you're looking to secure some short-term profits. That's around 141%. All right, and that should be it for Avax. Of course, if you think the bull market is over and there's nothing to get from these markets, nothing to gain rather, then you shouldn't be obviously buying, and you should stay away from the markets. This is not financial advice, guys. Make sure not to gamble with your life savings, with your food money, and only invest what you can afford to lose. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay safe, everyone, and have a great day.